All right, guys, we're here. We are at the Police Athletic League. We're on a tennis court, so we'll see how long we can sit here before someone tries to play volleyball on this court, which is what just happened. We were here first, so first come, first serve. I do want to address something. Your boy Andy and I, we went viral. It's up to 2.8 million views on Instagram. I know we previously went viral on TikTok at 400K views. Pretty excited about that, but this one's blowing it out of the water. Now, it's not a sports take, so that's unfortunate because we are a sports podcast. But, I mean, nonetheless, 2.8 million views, incredible. We actually have had multiple lawn chair companies reach out for possible sponsorships, which is pretty awesome. So you might see some lawn chair changes coming up to the Lawn Chair Sports Podcast soon. I actually had a couple other brands reach out, which is pretty sweet. And the boys are just fired up for some good times. Now, we do have another couple that is pulling up. They appear to also be wanting this court. Apparently, we picked the only court that anyone wants to use at this entire park because no one has ever – I've never seen someone use this court. So, incredible stuff there. We're definitely going to have to move, though. This dad's got he's got basketball, so we're good.
Oh, all right.
And it's the start of basketball season. There's no better way to start the basketball season than to watch people play basketball. But, no, seriously, it's a pleasure to continue the Lawn Chair Sports Show podcast with you, Andy. How was your weekend up at the wedding? Where were you at?
It was incredible, yeah. For the wedding, I was in Asheville, North Carolina this weekend. It was an incredible event. I mean, just great people, great times, nice town, good weather. I mean, I had the time of my life, so kind of in some rough shape right now.
A lot of breweries over there in Asheville.
A lot of breweries,
yes.
So got to have some local beers. Big fan. I mean, really happy with how it went. Kind of in rough shape right now. But
so I went to school not too far outside of Asheville. Did you guys see, this is an interesting thing in Asheville, obviously a very big hippie town.
Yeah.
A lot of,
that.
kind of that culture, which is kind of similar to St. Pete. I'd say St. Pete's the closest thing to Asheville in Florida at least. But apparently some of the people who look homeless are actually super rich in Asheville. That was always like the weird rumor people talked about. So did you see a lot of homeless people?
You know, oddly enough, I didn't see a ton, but I was warned by locals of the homeless people who look homeless and actually are homeless. Probably one of the first things the Uber driver said to me was that a lot of fentanyl in the town. Just leave the homeless people alone. Don't talk to them. Do not touch them. I wasn't planning on doing that, but that's probably a good rule of thumb for anyone wherever you go. Just try to avoid talking to the homeless people. Definitely don't touch them, especially without their consent. So, yeah, it was always good to get a local's perspective.
I do kind of feel like that's just a general rule for homeless people.
Right. She kind of made it sound like it was Asheville specific.
Yeah, Asheville,
I've always
she's like,
I've done that
listen,
everywhere.
if you're in Milwaukee, you can definitely touch them, but not here.
It's like a petting zoo in there. I mean, you can do whatever you want. So
no, that's hilarious. All right, guys, listen. Obviously, another great week of NFL, and we have the NBA starting up. So we're going to cover NFL Week 7 recap,
sir.
And then we're going to head into some NBA predictions because NBA is starting up, and the boys are pretty fired up about it.
Oh, we can't wait. It's incredible. So, all that being said, let's get into it. I mean, Trent, I'd ask how many Surfsides you had this weekend, but everyone knows we made a pact. We had a Surfside for every view on our viral video. It's 2.8 million. I mean, we cleaned the place out. So, no more Surfsides for anyone else. We drank them all, okay? That was week 7. Let's get into the games, okay? Let's get into the game recap. And we're starting out with Thursday night. It was the Unk Bowl, we called it. It was the two oldest quarterbacks in the league going at it. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals, with Joe Flacco at the helm, pulled off the upset. They won 33-31. What were your takeaways?
No one's more happy in Cincinnati than Jamar Chase. That guy is getting thrown the ball by an accurate quarterback again, and he is pumped up about it. Jamar Chase is a freak athlete. He's a freak wide receiver. He himself is keeping the Bengals somehow in-season playoff talks. But Joe Flacco actually is a way better fit in Cincinnati than he was in Cleveland, just proving again that Cleveland's just a horrible team and city to play for. But, yeah, the Bengals and Zach Taylor, they look good. And funny enough, the Steelers look good too, but their defense looked atrocious. And Jamar Chase was exposing their secondary. But great game. It was actually a wonderful Thursday night football game. Aaron Rodgers getting pissed at the guy that tackled him going onto the sideline after the touchdown was such an unk move as well. So they definitely lived up to the hype, to the name of the game. But, yeah, Bengals look great. Pittsburgh, got to be pissed you lost that one. That's one you should have won.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Steelers' defense, that's going to be their Achilles heel because they can't stop a nosebleed. And I think this loss was kind of karma because Mike Tomlin could not stop going on about how the Browns helped out a division rival by trading Joe Flacco to the Bengals. You should be able to beat a broken down Bengals team with Joe Flacco. If you were that concerned about end of career Joe Flacco, I mean, then you're not to be taken seriously as a true threat in the playoffs. So I thought Mike Tomlin just kind of carried on a little bit too much. Don't give your team any excuses, okay? I'm sure you would like to play Jake Browning. You should be able to beat Flacco. They didn't. And the Bengals have a chance now with a serviceable quarterback. I mean, Browning was a turnover machine. But Joe Flacco, he did what a game manager's supposed to do. He didn't turn the ball over. He threw 3 touchdown passes. I mean, the Bengals, they got a chance to win some games and hang around here.
Well, Andy, you mentioned the word game manager, and that's always been something that kind of bothered me when talking about the quarterback position. Game manager, if you actually look at the definition of it or what the sports media talk about, is someone who makes good decisions, someone who doesn't turn the ball over, and someone who puts their team in a position to win. Newsflash, that's just the quarterback position. If you're watching a guy who most people would consider the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, I guess you would also call him the best game manager of all time because he never took the Patriots out of a game by himself. He was one of the all-time greatest quarterbacks at keeping his team in the game. And I guess what separates maybe a game manager from one of the great NFL quarterbacks of all time is the game manager keeps you in the game the whole time, and the best quarterbacks finish it right at the end. And Brady was able to do that. But I don't want to hear any of that talk about Joe Flacco just being a game manager. He knows how to win football games. He's played in the playoffs before. So, Joe, keep on going, and 42 is looking very good on you.
Yeah, shout out to Joe. 42 is looking good on him. Next up, we had the London series game. It was the Rams giving the Jaguars a pretty big smackdown. They won 35-7 over in London.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we said going into it. Travis Hunter is still being a ghost. Liam Cohen is using him in a very weird fashion now. They were trying to almost just keep him exclusively on the offensive side this week, and they just continued to struggle like they were forcing to give him the ball. He wasn't getting the ball in natural play tendencies, and it just felt forced. He did have a nice touchdown catch, but honestly, it was already kind of over at that point, so it was kind of garbage points. But Travis Hunter, they need to figure out how to utilize this guy moving forward. Their secondary needed more help than their offense this past week, and Travis Hunter barely played. I do remember one specific play on Davante Adams where Travis Hunter lined up on him. Davante Adams tried to do a double move, and Hunter played perfect, flawless defense, turned his head around at the perfect time. So he showed that he can play corner in this league, and he also showed he can play wide receiver. But I don't know if anyone listened to the last podcast. I did call Davante Adams having a fantastic game.
That you
and
did.
Your boy balled out, 3 touchdowns. Matt Stafford looks like prime Matt Stafford. The Los Angeles Rams are climbing up the ranks. I would be scared to play that offense right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no Puka Nacua, no problem, because Davante Adams, he just slid into that number 1 receiver slot. It was incredible. I mean, people in London, they had deja vu because they got to see the Jaguars lose yet again in London. Matthew Stafford, what a game. 5 touchdown passes in an international game. He was the first player to ever do that. I wouldn't have known that, but the NFL Network broadcast said it 47 times in the fourth quarter. So now I know that. Very impressive game for Matt Stafford. Confusing game for Trevor Lawrence. Kind of terrible. Put up a lot of empty stats. Over 300 yards, but under 50% completion. Maybe try to run the ball. He got sacked 7 times. I mean, the Jaguars all over the place. The shine's coming off. They're 4-3 now, and I don't know how they're ever 4-1 to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, bringing up Trevor Lawrence kind of reminds me of he would be someone people would describe as a game manager, but I would actually argue against that. I think he's the kind of guy who can take his team out of games. When he's throwing interceptions and just wildly turning the ball over, the Jags have no shot to win. For the Jags to win, they kind of have to play the perfect game every week, and there's really no room for error. So if Lawrence makes any mistakes or those DBs miss coverages, the Jags are just done, and they have no comeback power. So if they're down, and they're going to lose the game.
Absolutely. All right, next up, into the 1 o'clock Sunday slate, we have the Kansas City Chiefs blanking the Las Vegas Raiders 31-0 at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, Geno getting benched at the end of the game. Not good for Geno, not good for the Raiders. Going into the tunnel in his own home stadium, kind of getting heckled by Raiders fans. So not a good look for the Las Vegas Raiders. However, 49ers looking great. That's who they played, right?
49ers are looking great. They played in the Sunday night game. This was the Raiders scoring 0 points against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Sorry.
At
I knew
Arrowhead.
that. I watched the whole game, too.
In
That's
Kansas
crazy.
City.
No, Patty Mahomes looked fantastic. Raiders couldn't stop them at all. Patrick Mahomes with that fake 4th down thing. Listen, that is not why they got the first down. It was 4th and 1. They were going to get it whether Patrick Mahomes did the fake, it doesn't effing work. It doesn't effing work. And then he snaps the ball. It's one of those things where the broadcast needed something to talk about, and Patrick Mahomes gave it to him. But honestly, as a Bills fan, I am scared of the Chiefs right now. They're looking very good. They're in midseason form. Somehow Rashee Rice is back after what he did to he was literally should have been in prison, and instead he's again on the sidelines of a Super Bowl contending team. The NFL is very confusing with who they suspend and for what. I feel like Josh Gordon back in the day got suspended for smoking weed, and he was painted as the worst person in human history. But since then, you've had Rice for the Baltimore Ravens, who literally knocked
Multiple
that person out, got stuck in the elevator. You have
Tyreek Hill, Joe Mixon. Some of these guys are in the league.
The Joe Mixon video where he punches that girl in the Oklahoma cafe is wild. If you haven't seen that, you need to watch it because there's no way that these guys should be able to play in the NFL. The crazy part that I've always thought too, and not to go on a rant here, but there's so many talented players that play in college football, and there's so much talent out there for a lot of these positions. I'm not sure why the NFL doesn't just ban all of these guys who hit women. Just ban them. There's another guy waiting in the wings that would love an opportunity that's probably just a good guy. NFL, clean up your act. When these guys do this, they should not be making millions of dollars and playing on America's biggest stage. Just my opinion.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, seeing Rashee Rice back, you hate to see it. I mean, the Chiefs, great team, but a team filled with character issues. Hard to root for. This Raiders team is garbage. I mean, it's going to be a long season. Geno is terrible. I mean, this might go down as one of the worst contracts ever. It's only a 2-year deal, so it won't sink them, but absolutely awful. I mean, if Brock Bowers is out, the Raiders have no chance. He's missed the last few games, and they're just lifeless. The Chiefs are looking dangerous now they got everyone back and healthy. Xavier Worthy's been back. Rashee Rice is back now. I mean, this is just changing everything. And Rashee Rice, he caught his first touchdown in his return, punted the ball into the stands. My understanding was that would be a penalty. It was no penalty. It was not criticized remotely on the broadcast.
UTEP.
Very confused because when the Raiders receiver looked at Trent McDuffie earlier in the game after making a catch over him, he was flagged for taunting. No penalty here for punting the ball into the stands. And yeah, getting these receivers back, it just opens up the Chiefs' offense. I mean,
they're so good.
Even though Travis Kelce is washed, he's slow, he's a tool, and he just behaves erratically on the sideline, having legit receivers on the outside is just going to open things up for him in the middle. I mean, when he was the only focal point for defenders, it's tough. He's not going to win these 2-on-1s anymore. If he's getting one-on-one coverage, he can still be serviceable. And, I mean, the Chiefs are firing on all cylinders again.
Chiefs are looking dangerous right now.
It was the toilet bowl. It was the Cleveland Browns taking down the Miami Dolphins 31-6 in Cleveland.
It was the toilet bowl. I don't even really want to talk too much about the Browns. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel's in there. He's a serviceable third-string quarterback. He's definitely not a starting quarterback. I really do think Shedeur Sanders going in there would be a better option than Dylan Gabriel. Just based off the college football film I've watched of both of them, I do think Shedeur's ceiling in the NFL is probably a little bit higher. You know what else is higher? His head to the ground, because Shedeur Sanders isn't 5'9". I think Gabriel's going to struggle with his height in the NFL. He's not going to be the next Drew Brees, so don't even think about that. He's not nearly as fast as Kyler Murray, so that height is going to be an issue. You're going to see a lot of batted balls at the line and a lot of missed reads, which you're seeing a lot of already in his short 2-game span. But the story here is the Miami Dolphins. Mike McDaniels has lost the team. He has lost the confidence of the locker room. He's lost the coaches. He's lost everyone. If there's a worse person to have lose the team than the head coach, well, they also have a quarterback who's lost the whole team. So Tua Tagovailoa has lost his entire team as well. Both of these guys seem to be competing for worst press conferences each week. Their post-game press conferences are abysmal right now. They look like they don't care. They're wearing weird clothes to the press conferences. The Dolphins are in absolute shambles, but the owners are staying firm they are not firing anyone, and they are not going to sit Tua. They have too much money invested in Tua at this point, and for some reason, they like Mike McDaniels. So I don't know what Mike McDaniels has on these owners, but these guys are going to keep being churned out there in front of the podium, and it's going to be embarrassing for them, but it's going to be great content for us watching the Dolphins continue to tank and be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I never thought it would go this bad in Miami. I mean, Tua just looks completely cooked. He was 12 of 23. No touchdowns, 3 picks, including one from his own end zone. It gave the Browns the ball at about the 6-yard line, set up an easy score. I mean, this Tua contract is an atrocity. This should be the end of paying mediocre quarterbacks like they're superstars. I know the going rate for a good starting quarterback in the NFL is about $45 million a year now. Teams need to learn where to put their foot down. You don't give that money to a guy like Tua. So maybe it'll be cautionary tale. And Dylan Gabriel was good enough. You know, the Browns did a lot on the ground. They only threw the ball 18 times. They ran it 33 times. This Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State, that's why you're sporting the hat right now, he's turning into a star. He had 3 touchdowns. And kind of, when you look at the Browns, between their running game and between their defense, they can get by with even serviceable quarterback play. So I'm not a big fan of Dylan Gabriel. There's probably not anyone within the organization right now who could provide them better quarterback play, but if they could go outside the organization, maybe convince a veteran quarterback, maybe someone to come out of retirement like Ryan Fitzpatrick, I mean, they could win some games and maybe make a playoff push.
Hey, the original Red Rocket, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's right. Went to Harvard. That's a fun fact. I don't think it's ever been discussed in any sports media program, so throw that out. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Harvard alum.
Yeah, smart guy, too.
Yep. Did very well in the Wonderlic.
He has hair on his chest.
He does. All right, next up, we are the Carolina Panthers going to MetLife Stadium and beating the New York Jets 13-6. Jets now 0-7.
Jets, Jets. The Jets suck this year. I love to see it. I went to 2 straight Bills-Jets games, not last year, but the 2 years before in New York City. Well, I went to New York City. I had to go across the river to New Jersey because they do not play in New York. But the Jets fans were all assholes. You know, they cussed us out after winning the game, giving us the finger on the way out of the tunnel. So there's nothing more sweet than seeing these Jets fans just crying right now. Watching Aaron Glenn be their new head coach, watching Justin Fields be one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history, and watching their savior, Tyrod Taylor, get in there and look like Justin Fields, but slower. So the Jets are an absolute abysmal organization right now. But hold on a second. These Panthers have a little bit of momentum. So Bryce Young might just be saving his young career right now on some of these awful, ugly wins. But we can't knock quarterbacks when they're winning games. So Bryce Young has figured out a formula that's working in Carolina. And I'd like to see him just keep putting the gas pedal to the metal. And Carolina heating up.
They are heating up. 4 straight wins for the Panthers. Look dead in the water. Now they're 4-3, okay? But like you said, the story of Sunday was not the Panthers, okay? So I'm saying Jets SUC, okay? Because this team is terrible. I mean, they're hopeless. They put Tyrod Taylor in. It didn't do anything. He looked just as bad as Justin Fields. And I think Aaron Glenn is just in over his head. You know, not every good coordinator is meant to be a head coach, at least not right now. If you're the Jets, don't fire him during the middle of the season. Stay the course. Hang on to Aaron Glenn. Tank. Draft a quarterback up high. And just start over with a new head coach next year who's friends with Sean McVay. I mean, that formula seems to work out pretty well. Just get someone who Sean McVay is close with and really give your new quarterback a chance to succeed. I don't know how it got this bad in New York, but
it got that bad. Did you see what Aaron Glenn said in the presser as well when they asked about whether or not they should switch quarterbacks?
I did. He was adamant that he was sticking with Justin Fields. I believe that was only 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
When asked about it again this week, he came back and he said he is going to consult friends who have been head coaches in the league that have been in situations like this before. That is not what you want to hear from the leader of your organization. Let me give you an example. Let's say I became the CEO of let's say I became the CEO of Johnson & Johnson. And our vaccine business was just plummeting. And the shareholders are getting angry. Everyone's getting mad. Our stock price is falling. You would not want to give me you would not want to see me in a press conference go, yeah, I'm going to have to reach out to some people. I don't know exactly what to do at all. I know I was hired to do it, but I'm going to have to reach out to some people for advice. Buddy, if that was the case, then anyone with access to ChatGPT could be an NFL football coach. So Aaron Glenn, you got to become a better press conference guy. You won't last long in New York, the biggest media capital of the world, if you're saying dumb shit like that on TV.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that's something that does happen where coaches and teams will go to kind of other colleagues within the league and other teams and ask them for advice, but you just don't say that publicly because it kind of sounds like you don't have any answers within your building. So
it's not what you want to hear
you
from your head coach.
You need some media training.
Yeah.
You need some media training. That was that. Next up, we had the Patriots going to the Music City and rolling the Tennessee Titans 31-13. Okay? I'll take this one.
No, go for it.
This was awesome. I mean, we talked about Mike Vrabel getting revenge. They absolutely stomped the Tennessee Titans, who were hopeless. And Drake Maye is becoming a superstar in real time. And I would get on this show and say that even if it weren't true, but it's actually happening, and it's awesome. He's now 4th in MVP odds right now, behind only Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen. It's crazy. And an absurd stat, 21 of 23 for 222 yards. Also 7.8 yards per carry and 8 rushes. I mean, the kid is just balling out. The Patriots are 5-0 in games when Maye does not turn the ball over. So he's a little bit of a cowboy quarterback, but cutting down on the mistakes, not turning the ball over, he's playing very good football, give him a chance to win. And on the other side, Cam Ward is terrible. This guy's a turnover machine.
We've said that since the beginning.
5 fumbles, 5 picks on the year in 7 games. And everyone's going to say, oh, well, it's not his fault. Look at what's around him. No. When you fumble the ball 5 times in 7 games, that is not on the people around you. Don't blame the receivers. Don't blame the offensive line. If you're not a great quarterback, fine, but you cannot be fumbling the football. Cam Ward, in over his head.
Protect the ball, Cam, but also they put up a stat of what was the quarterback that was with the Tennessee last Will
Levis.
Will Levis, sorry. God, my brain's not working well today. Yeah, so they put a side-by-side of Will Levis's first 5 games and Cam Ward's first 5 games, and it was shocking to see Will Levis played way better in his first 5 games than Cam Ward. Cam Ward, I've literally been saying it since week 1, he's a bust. He's going to be one of the biggest bust QBs in NFL history. Was not good at Miami, and he certainly isn't good now. Cam Ward was one of the first college quarterbacks who went on a different team every single year, and then for some reason, people in the NFL were like, oh, that's a good formula. He couldn't sustain success anywhere. I should put all of my chips on the table for him. So Tennessee got to be hurting having Cam Ward as your quarterback right now, but I will give some flowers to Drake Maye. This guy is a budding superstar in the NFL. He's a good-looking guy. He's playing in the city of Boston. He's got Mike Vrabel as his head coach. You couldn't ask for more star power potential than Drake Maye. He throws a beautiful long ball right now. The commentators have been mentioning that a lot, so it sounds like that's going to be their thing with him, that he throws a good long ball. And it's tough as a Bills fan to see Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins catch all of these long balls from Drake Maye after we got rid of them. So I don't like to see him being this successful because obviously he's direct competition to the Bills, but Drake Maye is a prototypical NFL superstar, and if I was a quarterback drafted in the same class as him, I would be scared of my history because no one's going to remember any quarterback's name in that draft except for Drake Maye. I am excited to see what he can do as a person, but as a fan of the Bills, I'm absolutely terrified of him.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, that was that. Next up, we had the Bears taking down the New Orleans Saints 26-14 at Soldier Field. I'll get started here. The Bears are winning right now in spite of Caleb Williams. He's the weak point of their team, but they've won 3 in a row. They're now 4-2. The story of this game was turnovers. If you're the New Orleans Saints, you can't turn the ball over 4 times. You have a stagnant offense, and Spencer Rattler had a terrible game. The Bears only turned the ball over once. That's one thing that Caleb Williams does quite well. He threw a pick in this game, but is pretty good at not turning the football over. And I've been a Spencer Rattler defender on this program. I think he gets a little bit too much flack. But he tried way too hard to have a revenge game because it was personal between him and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams took his starting spot at the University of Oklahoma. Rattler had to transfer to South Carolina. They asked him about it in the pregame. He basically said, I'll say hi to him, but it is what it is. A nice way of saying I hate that guy's guts. So
it's tough.
he tried to do way too much. And Dennis Allen, okay, former Saints head coach, he shut down his former team. He's the Bears defensive coordinator. That's the first time on record he's done anything positive as a coach.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this basketball's moving, but that's all right. I don't like to admit it when I'm wrong, but Caleb Williams is becoming a serviceable NFL quarterback. He's far from being a top-tier guy. I don't even think he's in the top half of NFL quarterbacks right now, but he's playing winning football, and the pod loves consistent winning football from quarterbacks. That's what we value the most is winning. We're not stat mongers. We're not stat watchers. We're not line watchers, okay? We appreciate players who know how to win the game, and Caleb Williams is figuring that out. I think the Bears have a lot of talent around Caleb Williams. I know a lot of times they'd say they don't, but if you just look at all the talent, they have a good team around him. I think they can make some waves. I still don't think they're a contender or anything, but for Chicago fans, it's good to see them get a couple happy weeks out of this guy. So, you know what, Chicago, good for you. And yeah, coming back to Spencer Rattler, he's just not the answer. He's a good bridge quarterback until they draft someone else, but he's a boring guy. The Bills have had a million of Spencer Rattlers in their history, and you forget all their names 10 years down the road.
Yeah, very true. That was the story in Chicago. Next up, we had a wild one. It was the Eagles pulling it out 28-22 in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles were giving Minnesota every chance that they had to win the game, and unfortunately, for some reason, the Minnesota Vikings threw the ball 48 times with Carson Wentz, which is just not the answer. That's not the formula to win with Carson Wentz. He is never going to win you a football game if he's throwing damn near 50 times a game, but really sucked for them. They could not get the ball into the end zone about 3 times. Honestly, if you were watching the game, the Vikings really commanded a lot of the almost the energy and the vibes of the game. But my boy Jalen Hurts, who is a winning quarterback and has had everybody on his butt for not putting up big stats, said, you know what? How about I get a win and I put up some big stats too? Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, had some really nice deep balls to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. It was really good to see Jalen Hurts get some stats. It was good to see.
It really was. I mean, the story of this game, Jalen Hurts showed the world that he's got a bazooka arm, and that's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. Everyone's happy in Philly right now. They snapped their 2-game losing streak. I mean, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith hadn't been involved enough in the offense in the early part of the season. Those two alone combined for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Eagles still can't run the ball. Saquon Barkley, he got 18 carries, but only 2.4 yards per carry. But
Madden curse.
I don't care about the stats. You're winning. And Carson Wentz had a chance for a revenge game against the Eagles. Tough showing. No touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, he's always good for a couple just horrible decisions per game. He had those in this one. And I feel like for the Vikings, time just feels like a flat circle because they're always so solid in so many areas, but they're just waiting for that franchise quarterback. They're always a quarterback away. I mean, they're waiting to get J.J. McCarthy back right now. He's still out with the herniated disc that he suffered while meditating on the field before the game in week 2. So they can't get him back fast enough.
I don't think J.J. McCarthy changes anything. I think the play calling was abysmal. I think the Vikings are in an identity crisis, and it's going to be a while before they figure it out.
Yeah, tough times in Minnesota. All right, next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts rolling the Los Angeles Chargers 38-24 at SoFi Stadium.
Danny Dimes, Danny Dimes, Danny Dimes, Danny Dimes. I mean, I think if you go back and look at a lot of our takes this season, we've been pretty accurate with our predictions. Danny Dimes continues to lead the Colts to an absolute ascension to the top of the AFC. This guy's looking like an absolute stud. He's playing better than Peyton Manning was in his last 5 years with Indianapolis. But the real MVP and a guy who needs to be talked about in this MVP race is Jonathan Taylor. I know it's usually a quarterback award, but this guy is just punching out 3 touchdown games. Jonathan Taylor has another excellent game. I can't say enough things about Jonathan Taylor. And the Colts, it doesn't matter who they play. They're looking like the number one guys in the AFC right now.
Yeah, the Colts look incredible, and they might be the best team we've seen in the 2020s. I won't stop saying it. They should be undefeated. They're 6-1 now. Their one loss was very stupid and avoidable, good enough to be unbeaten. And, I mean, it's Danny Dimes' world. We're just living in it. Another incredible performance. He was once known as a fumbler. In this game, he didn't fumble, but he recovered a fumble. He's now recovering other guys' fumbles. I mean, he has just gotten better in every facet of the game. And, you know, I really want to like Justin Herbert, but he kind of feels like empty calories to me. I mean, he's like when I skip dinner and just have 14 Miller Lights instead. Because you look at the stat line, he's getting the yards, he's put up numbers. Both teams had over 400 yards in this game. The Chargers actually outgained the Colts. But the Colts got the ball in the end zone, and they didn't turn the ball over. It just feels like when you need that big play to Justin Herbert, he doesn't make it. I don't know if he has that it factor.
I think we've called this too. Herbert's not the guy. Herbert has never been the guy. He got hyped up in the media for some reason, but I think it's because he puts up a lot of garbage time yards and touchdowns. So his stat lines at the end of the seasons come out, and he's a top 5 quarterback. But if you're looking at the most important stat, which is putting your football team in positions to win, he's just not that guy. He never will be. Harbaugh days might be over in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and tough times for all Harbaugh brothers.
All of them.
You know, 2025. Okay, next up, this might have been the game of the week. I'm talking about a showdown at Mile High Stadium. It was the Denver Broncos beating the New York Giants 33-32 on a last-second field goal. The Broncos came back. The Giants led 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. What were your thoughts here?
My thought was this was the game of the year. It was an absolute entertaining classic. I know there wasn't maybe much on the line because a lot of people don't think either of these teams are Super Bowl contenders. But if you have a chance, go watch some YouTube highlights of this game because they have you on the edge of your seat, even if you know the outcome. This was an unbelievable football game. This is why we love watching football on Sundays, even if it's not our team. The Bills had a bye this week, but I was glued to this game. Glued to this game. A lot of good storylines. We have Bo Nix, who looked sneaky good. Want to talk about a guy who's just doesn't have to go crazy with all the ebbs and flows of a game and just consistency throughout the game. He did not give up. He's a coach's son, and it showed. Sean Payton has guys just keep battling back. New York Giants, though, on the other side, right? They're young, they're chippy, they got a lot of energy. Jackson Dart's flashy. You have Scadaboo running for touchdowns. It looked like the Giants had finally figured it out. The formula had been figured out. Dable's job is saved. Jackson Dart's the savior. Scadaboo is going to be famous forever and never have to pay for a restaurant in New York City again. And then suddenly there was this concept of winning football games. Jackson Dart doesn't set his feet, throws an interception, sets them up, Bo Nix and the boys to get a quick touchdown. But just bad clock management by Brian Dable. You have to do a better job at finishing that game. It was yours to lose, and lose you did. If I'm the Giants, I am heart-stricken after that game. Jackson Dart, you played well, but again, no one remembers how good you played when you lose. So remember, figure out how to put yourself in positions to win. Jackson Dart, not doing a good job at that right now.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, shout out to Bo Nix, just so resilient. He's only a second-year guy, but I think he played 9 years in college, so he seems like a veteran in the middle of his career. You know, Sean Payton finally kind of cut him loose, let him run a little bit. He had kind of had him just stand in the pocket like a statue. I think Sean Payton just wants him to be Drew Brees because he's short and all he knows is coaching Drew Brees. But when you're a second-year guy, you know, sometimes you need to make life easier on yourself. You need to run to pick up third down every once in a while. I mean, he was using the legs, and that really unlocked things. So I think that's a good development for Bo Nix. But, you know, if you didn't watch this game and you just saw the box score, one thing that needs to be talked about, the final Giants drive where they took the lead, it was a ref show. I mean, it is everything wrong with the NFL. There was a 4th and long where Jackson Dart completed a pass over the middle. Looked like he got very close to the sticks. It appeared short. The refs on the field spotted the ball as a first down, even though it was blatantly short. It didn't matter because there was a phantom roughing the passer. I think 90% of roughing the passer calls in the NFL are completely unnecessary. I mean, just wrap these guys up in bubble wrap if you don't want the quarterback getting touched. It was terrible. And then you had a phantom PI in the end zone that gave the Giants the ball at the 1 yard line, set up their go-ahead touchdown. That was terrible, so I was happy to see the Broncos get some revenge on their last-minute drive. And Jackson Dart, when he celebrated his go-ahead touchdown on the sideline, he just looked like an enormous tool, okay? Because this team is 2-5, and I see this guy in front of the camera. He's flashy. He's wearing a chain. I mean, he always knows where the camera is. Someone needs to sit this kid down and say, you're embarrassing yourself and you're embarrassing your family because you're on a 2-5 football team, and you look like you don't even care that you're dropping games every Sunday. Lose the chain until you win something.
I never thought I would start a sports podcast with a Boston sports fan who is openly complaining about the roughing the passer penalties in the NFL. I lived my entire childhood watching us put a finger on Tom Brady's shoulder and there would be a 46-yard flag. I do not want to hear any takes about roughing the passer from you, Andy. That ruined my childhood. The guy literally had the tuck rule made about him.
That's
I don't
not
want to
true.
hear one thing. So the guy gets rolled up on one time and then suddenly no one can touch a quarterback below the knees. You are in no position to talk about roughing
This comes
the
up a
passer.
lot. People think I made the rule. They don't let me make the rules. And it's gotten worse. It's gotten so much worse. Also, these running quarterbacks, these guys that are out of the pocket, and you can't touch them either. I mean, it's one thing the guy standing in the pocket, but these guys running to the sideline, everything's a late hit too. I think 90% of late hits don't need to be flags
No,
too.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to know. I want everyone to know where the genesis of roughing the passer
People say that.
escalations came from.
Oh, that's when the NFL, they looked at their financials. They realized the quarterbacks are the moneymakers.
Yeah.
Because in 2008, Brady's out for a season. They said, oh, we got, was it Big Ben and Flacco? I mean, what are we doing? They need a little more sizzle at the quarterback position.
Yeah, it's fine. I just a comment.
But yeah, no, unfortunately, they don't let me make the rules. That'd be cool if they did, though. But, all right, that was a heck of a game. It was a great game, actually. And next up, we have the Green Bay Packers, 27, versus the Arizona Cardinals, 23. Green Bay pulling it out in Arizona. They're now 4-1-1.
Jacoby Brissett just kind of shows why he's not a starter, right? He's a very good serviceable backup, but he just didn't have enough power to outduel the Packers in this game. Packers looked really good. Jordan Love, like we've said, you know, when the guy's playing well, he's playing well. And, yeah, Packers just keep on doing. And Micah Parsons kind of had his coming out party this week. And it makes sense because Jacoby Brissett makes slow decisions and he's not a quick guy. So, hey, it was good to see Micah Parsons get some very important sacks, too, by the way.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, one thing we've learned so far is that nobody loses a close game like the Arizona Cardinals. They're now 2-5, but 4 of their losses have been by 1 score. So maybe if you're a betting man, bet on the Cardinals to cover but lose. Or, I don't know, maybe just watch the game because you like watching the game. I don't know. But that being said, we are presented by Hard Rock Bet. But either way, the Cardinals are now 0-4 since Kyler Murray posted a bizarre Instagram post with his dog while wearing a Michael Vick jersey. I'm definitely not the internet police, but that is just extremely poor judgment from a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think Jacoby Brissett is playing better than Kyler Murray. Wasn't enough to pull out the win, but if you're the Cardinals, time to end this Kyler Murray experiment. I mean, not only is he tiny, this guy just doesn't have the intangibles. You know, we heard early in his career that he was spending too much time playing video games, not studying the playbook. That's not what I want to hear from my starting quarterback. And, I mean, this Packers team, they are looking just good enough to win some games and lose on Wild Card Weekend. All right. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders falling to the Dallas Cowboys, 44-22. Big-time offensive output by Dallas.
Dallas is a confusing team. I think they're one of the hottest and coldest teams in the NFL. They either play a really, really good game or they play really, really bad. It was tough to see Jaden Daniels come back this week and really not be in perfect midseason form. He didn't look that great. The Commanders look a step slower than last year. But the story of the game is Dak Prescott just keeps fighting through adversity, and he refuses to have enough bad games in a row for people to call for him to leave. Because he'll have 2 bad games, 2 great games. 1 bad game, 2 good games. 3 bad games, 2 really good games. So he's figured out the formula to get paid in the NFL, but never win anything or put his team in first place. But hey, who am I to complain about a guy who seems to be a good guy off the football field? So make your money, Dak. But Dallas, Washington, You guys are not. You guys are both pretenders this year. This game was a meaningless game for second place in the NFC West. It's Eagles division. No one else is even touching them this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Dak putting together a pretty solid season. You know, he's putting up numbers, and he has to deal with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. So, you know, shout out for just the leadership to kind of hold things together in the locker room, deal with a couple guys who always want the football. This Cowboys offense is pretty insane, and they're putting up numbers. The defense is terrible, though, so, you know, bet the over on Cowboys games. Do it on Hard Rock Bet. But Jaden Daniels, I think, is in a sophomore slump. And I really liked this kid last year. I mean, he had a heck of a rookie year, looked like a veteran. But I never thought I'd say it so early. I mean, I am taking Drake Maye over Jaden Daniels if we're talking about that quarterback class. Things change fast in this league. And it just kind of feels like last year was a flash in the pan for the Washington Commanders. I mean, they won that game of Wild Card Weekend. They won the divisional round as well. Got to the NFC Championship. No one saw it coming. That will be their peak accomplishment for the next 20 years. They're back to being the Commanders.
I agree. I think it's a good take. I think it's funny you said that you'd take Drake Maye over Jaden Daniels because it just goes to show you that two guys sitting in lawn chairs can say whatever we want. And you know what? If Jaden Daniels plays really good next week, we might say that he's way better than Drake Maye. But this is a topsy-turvy business, being in the sports podcasting business. And we got to be agile. We've got to be ready to go. And we can't let the fact that all these sponsors are knocking down our door to change what we do best, which is changing takes each week. If you're not watching this podcast on a weekly basis, you need to be, because I want you to keep track of how many times that we are right after the games are played and then play back 2 weeks before and we said the opposite take. It's a great strategy by us because none of you are watching all the podcasts. So if we say a really bad take 1 week and then we do the opposite the next week, we're going to be right 50% of the time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the word agile is just perfect. It's our job to react to new information in this space. If I came up and just gave you the same take every week, that wouldn't make much sense because we learn new things about these teams and players every week. So, you know, hey, it could change next week. It could change the week after that. It might change tomorrow, but I like Drake Maye. Jaden Daniels cooked. That was that game. Into the Sunday night football matchup.
NFL football.
Yeah,
Sunday night football.
Right, exactly. He's humming. That's the classic Sunday night football theme. We all know it. We all love it. We've been here on NBC for years. The San Francisco 49ers took care of business. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 20-10. Michael Penix versus Mac Jones. Neither quarterback was really great in this one. To me, the difference was having Christian McCaffrey. 174 yards on the ground. I mean, why doesn't every team just have this guy?
Christian McCaffrey looked like white Bijan Robinson. I mean, it was a battle of the running backs. Christian McCaffrey versus Bijan Robinson. And Christian McCaffrey showed why the OG is still the OG. It sounds weird saying Christian McCaffrey is an OG, but he's been in the league for a while now, and he put on an absolute clinic out there. He was out getting motioned out, catching quick slants. He making all the guys miss in the holes. Christian McCaffrey being back puts the 49ers back into the conversation. Mac Jones is serviceable enough to put him in positions to win. And Michael Penix showed that he's the Michael Penix we thought he was, which is not a great quarterback. He looks like when he throws the ball anywhere outside of the hash marks, it just seems to kind of float and ducktail at the end. It seems odd that he played so well against the Bills and so bad this week. Penix is still a question mark in my eyes. I'm not writing him off fully yet, mainly because he's from St. Pete. But 49ers winning a game they should have won, and that's what you need to do in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Niners are 5-2. They're looking legit. I mean, they're a contender this season. And, yeah, Penix, big game against the Bills. Maybe the Bills are the new get-right game.
Shit.
Okay? All right. That is it for NFL Week 7 recap. Once again, a wild week of football games. I mean, this season has just been so crazy. You know, we're spitting out new takes every week. We're changing them every week. So you just never know what you're going to get.
Great week of NFL football.
There we go.
All right.
Let me fix this.
So,
real quick.
Andy.
Gotta have the basketball centered.
Andy's going to fix the basketball. It's not centered. It is centered in terms of the Spalding's logo looking at the camera, but it's not centered. It's closer to you.
Right. Not centered. It's closer
but
to me.
Why is the basketball even in the frame right now?
It's here because the NBA is back. Okay? It's been a long 4 months. The NBA offseason is over because tonight, the because this podcast released on Tuesday morning. Tonight, the NBA season will kick off. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champs, taking on the Rockets, and we got the Lakers and the Warriors. It's going to be exciting. The games are on NBC and Peacock. I still don't fully know what Peacock is, but many of you at home do. If you know, leave a comment below. But we're pretty excited. We're pretty excited. It's going to be a great NBA season. So, we've been mostly football on this pod since we kicked it off. I think we got some NBA offseason moves we got to catch up on.
Yeah, I mean, give us a rundown of some of the top ones. I also want to cover kind of the top 5 teams in each conference.
Let's
and
do
just
it.
kind of go over that. I'd like to just give any thoughts we have on the NBA. I'm a big NBA guy. I love the NBA playoffs, but I kind of like waking up in the morning and just watching YouTube highlights of all the games to just kind of get a recap of what's going on. They do a really good job at splicing the whole game into about 7 minutes. You can fast forward to like just the third and fourth quarter because usually it's always tied anyway. And you can catch a nice game while drinking your morning coffee at like 6 a.m.
It's great. Phenomenal highlight sport. We're going to get into all that. But starting off with some of the biggest stories of the offseason, I think we got to go back to the spring. It's the Knicks firing head coach Tom Thibodeau. Coming off their best season in over 20 years, they made it to the conference finals. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. Long coaching search. They made a lot of phone calls. They called a handful of different teams. They said, hey, can we hire your head coach? The other team said no. They said, oh, I thought you let us hire them. Got shot down by a lot of teams trying to hire their coach. They ultimately settled on Mike Brown, former Cavaliers coach, former Lakers coach, former Kings coach. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the New York Giants, the New York Knicks.
Yes, the New York Knicks coaching
Sorry,
change.
guys, there's a lot going on.
There's a
around
lot
us
going
still,
on here.
So we're staying locked in. But
We're always
I
locked
think
in.
I think it's a reactionary firing Thibodeau like that. I think it's a short-sighted move. I think Thibodeau got New York relevant for the first time in years since honestly Latrell Sprewell era or even 90s Knicks. So, very odd to see that. I like their moves other than their coaching, though. Re-signing Mikal Bridges, bringing in Jordan Clarkson for some bench. I think the Knicks have put themselves in position to be in contention again. And, hey, there's nothing better than when Madison Square Garden is lit up with some celebrities. The crowd's going crazy. They're all taking the subway to the game. The energy is real. The NBA needs the Knicks to be good this year.
Yeah, the NBA would love the Knicks to be good. I mean, it's one thing if you want to move on from Tom Thibodeau. His style's a little bit old school. He really likes these guys playing a lot of minutes. I mean, he pretty much picks 6 guys he likes and says you're all playing over 40 minutes a game. I don't care that the postseason is 2 months long and you need to save your legs. That's how we're doing it. A lot of players don't necessarily love playing for him. I think they appreciate him, but he's just a tough coach to play for. This just seemed like a panic move because there was zero plan. I mean, they settled on Mike Brown, but I don't think that was their plan at the very beginning. He's a good coach.
Yeah, but Mike Brown's one of the most exciting NBA coaches ever.
That's true. I
in
mean,
our
he's
era.
a quote machine. I mean, he's just exciting on the sideline.
He is just such a fun guy to listen to, and he's just done such a good job at being an assistant coach that,
Right.
well, how could you not like a guy like Mike Brown?
That's true. And I think actually later on in the week, we're going to do our top 5. We're going to do our top 5 favorite Mike Brown quotes over the
like
years.
it.
So that was big story number 1 of the offseason. Second one, it happened on the morning of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. KD lands in Houston. He's on team number 5. What do we think?
Houston, we have a problem, and that's KD just signed another 2-year extension at about $185 million a year. KD is not the answer for Houston. He's washed up. He's been washed up since he left the Warriors the first time around. And KD, Houston, some of the young players they have, it's going to be a disappointing team. It's kind of a nothing burger in terms of story, but honestly, there wasn't a lot of great stories this offseason, so that's something we just had to talk about.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I think when the trade went down, the Rockets, they wanted him to take less money so they could be more flexible with their roster. He didn't budge. He demanded $245 million a year. He's getting that for 2 years. So if he can stay healthy, I think this really makes the Rockets an interesting team. I mean, they are kind of a hard-nosed defensive group under Ime Udoka. They finished as one of the top seeds in the West last season, had a 7-game battle with Golden State. What they were missing is that true scorer, the guy who can kind of get their own. And we know Durant, he might not be the same player he once was, but he can be that guy, the true closer. I think it could be a good fit. Can he make it? I mean, you're relying on someone who's almost 40 years old to be your number one option. I think it makes the Rockets one of the most interesting teams in the entire league.
They'll be fun to watch. I mean, I'll tune in. I mean, the game will probably start at 10 p.m., but I'll tune in.
Right. Since they're a Western Conference team, I probably won't watch much of them, but hey. All right, another one. This one hits close to home for me. It's the Boston Celtics. Only a year removed from winning the NBA championship, kind of dismantled their roster. So they fell to the Knicks in the second round last season. In Game 4, Jayson Tatum went down with a torn Achilles. It's a handful of Achilles tears in the NBA playoffs last season. He's going to be out for the majority of the season. He wants to come back potentially in March. Who knows if he'll make a return. The Celtics kind of took this opportunity to tear the roster down a bit, save some money.
Tear the roster down?
Tearing it down. Save some money, get under the luxury tax, traded Kristaps Porzingis away to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for nothing, and then traded Drew Holiday to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Anthony Simons. If there's one thing that I could not care less about as a sports fan, it's my team saving money. So, I don't know. These luxury tax bills are hefty. The Celtics spent big for about a 4-year period leading up to this. But I want players. I don't want cap relief. I don't care how much it's saving the new owner. I don't think it's the last we've seen of this Celtics group, but I mean, it's kind of a gap year. If you're a Celtics hater, I mean, you're going to have a fun year because I think for the first time in 10 years, they probably won't really be in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. You know, it's weird watching a team that had so much promise. It looked like they might even be the next dynasty in the NBA, and you just watch it all get torn down, no pun intended, by an Achilles tendon getting torn. I mean, that was the moment that might change Boston sports history. That put the Celtics behind. Drew Holiday, losing him is going to be probably bigger than losing Jayson Tatum. That guy is the rock, and he's the glue that keeps all the guys together. His defense, his energy, his attitude, you can't replace that. And the Celtics should know that, and they didn't. And Kristaps Porzingis, he was never great with the Celtics, and he's never really been great anywhere. But what he does is he can spread the defense out. When you have to guard Kristaps Porzingis out at the 3 because he's a pretty good three-point shooter, what that does is it creates lanes for Drew Holiday, Jayson Tatum, and Jaylen Brown to attack. And what happens when you attack with clear lanes? You're either making layups or you're kicking out for open threes. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Boston this year. I wouldn't rule them out. I think the East is kind of soft anyway. So I think there's still room for Boston to be one of the top teams this year. But definitely an interesting move by the new ownership group to kind of tear apart the core of what was Boston the last couple of years. So hopefully Jayson Tatum doesn't take the whole role playing as Kobe Bryant too seriously. He's already tried winning the championship, wearing the jacket, and now he's even trying the Achilles tear. So, Jason, you're taking the role play a little bit too far. I think you can kind of cool down, man, and just be yourself. So, young guy, hope he gets back healthy. Seems like a great dad as well. So, Jayson Tatum, you have two fans right here, but you got to stop pretending to be Kobe.
Yeah, would love to see Tatum back this season. Love to see him make full recovery. So that's that. Last up, we have the Denver Nuggets just making moves. They're making moves all offseason. I mean, maybe one of the biggest trades of the offseason. They traded Michael Porter Jr., the Brooklyn Nets, in exchange for Cam Johnson. They also, I don't know who they traded for him, but they acquired Jonas Valanciunas, giving them some depth down low.
Who doesn't love that name? Valanciunas is one of the all-time name players in the NBA, and Michael Porter Jr., let's see how this guy does, because after he got traded, he went absolutely AWOL and started going on live streams, started going all over social media, making hilarious comments about his brother gambling and how his problem is women. So we'll see what he does in Brooklyn. I can't imagine him going to New York City is going to be a good thing for him.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, just the rampage that Michael Porter Jr. went on this summer in the media, it really just makes the Denver's NBA championship in 2023 all that more impressive. I mean, kudos to their social media team, kudos to their PR team. I had no idea how absurd this guy was. And they're swapping him out for someone who's arguably a better player and, to my knowledge, has not gone on podcasts and said absurd things publicly. I think that's an upgrade there. Michael
Big
Porter
upgrade.
Jr. also frequently banged up, so Cam Johnson is a win there. And Valanciunas, I mean, that's a legit big. You talk about him and Jokic together, I mean, good luck if you're another team. It's
Agreed.
bigs are back in the NBA. Nuggets making moves, not just gonna settle and be content. 3 years off a title, they're saying no, we're making big time moves. So,
What are we thinking here? Are we wanting to kind of jump into top 5 in each conference?
let's do that.
Are we ready to hit
Let's
that?
do it. Yeah.
All right, so we're recording this on October 20th, 2025, so I want that to be known. These are our top 5 teams for each conference in the NBA going into the 2025-2026 season. Let's start out in the Western Conference. Let's go 5 down. We'll go you give me yours, I'll give you mine, and then we'll just work our way down the list. Let's start Western Conference, though. Is that fair, or do you want to start Eastern?
No, let's start West.
Okay.
I'm fine on the West. All right, should we start at number 1?
No, we're starting 5 down.
Start 5. All
down.
right. Number 5, I'm going with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they might not be your same old Warriors, but we got Steph Curry. We got Jimmy Butler now in the mix for his first full season. Draymond still completely out of control. I mean, Steph Curry's just playing at such a high level. I think any team that he's on is going to be in the mix. I like the Warriors. I like the Warriors as my number 5 team in the West.
Warriors, interesting take. I have number 5, the Denver Nuggets. I think they're still a top team, and they are just looking to refine at this point, but they're still in the mix. And unless you get rid of Jokic, you're always going to be in the mix. You're definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, I like that. All right, my number 4, that's where I put the Denver Nuggets. I like the moves they made this offseason. I think they improved the team. Jokic is the best player in the NBA. They had some issues within the team last season. They inexplicably fired their head coach with a week left in the season. Sounds like Russell Westbrook wasn't a great fit there. Caused some drama. New year, the Nuggets are going to be in the mix. I like them at number 4.
My number 4, I have the young core, the rising towards contention team. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I haven't put them in my top 3 yet, but I think Anthony Edwards and the boys should be in pretty good shape this year. I got Minnesota as my number 4 team.
I like that. Yeah, no, this has ended up being potentially not a great segment because I feel like we're picking the exact same teams, but I like the Timberwolves at number 3. I mean, for a team that's been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, I feel like I did not hear a word about them this offseason. Everyone loves Anthony Edwards. He's going to be an MVP candidate. I mean, they've gotten it done in the playoffs. They've pulled off some upsets. I don't think people expected them to beat Golden State last season. I don't think people expected to beat the Lakers. No one expected them to beat Denver when they were the reigning champs. And this is a team that overachieves in the postseason. They've got a guy with just some grit, some balls. I mean, Anthony Edwards is not scared of anything. I like the Timberwolves as a top 3 team in the West.
Yeah, remember earlier I like to talk about being agile, and I'm agile here. I have number 3 as the Houston Rockets. I think Kevin Durant and the guys are going to come out big, and I would not be surprised if Houston ends up finishing in the top 3 in the Western Conference this year.
All right. Number 2, I'm going with the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, this team is absolutely incredible. They won the most games in the NBA last season, won the title without a ton of resistance, and they're going to be a popular pick to be the best team this season. Naturally, there's just some regression because they were young, they were hungry last season. They're still young, but it's just not all that common. We see a team win the NBA title and then get the 1 seed. I still predict they'll be a top 2 seed. Tiny bit of regression, but I mean, the Thunder are legit. They have very few holes in this team. They're going to be right in the middle of it once again.
My number 2 is the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, LeBron James. I can't think of a better roster in the NBA than the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't be surprised if they run the table this year. I am expecting the Lakers to be scary good. We have skinny Luka, and skinny Luka is a terrifying scene to see if you're another NBA team. So skinny Luka, DeAndre Ayton needing to make a statement that he's not a bust, and then Marcus Smart, who's just a gritty guy. I have the Lakers going a long way this year.
No, that'd be interesting. I think, probably the only thing crazier than an NBA team running the table would be running the table but still finishing with a 2 seed. So if that happened, that would truly be history. But
Scoring differential.
And my number 1 team in the West, I've got the Houston Rockets. I just talked about it. Really like that trade for Kevin Durant. I mean, they were a young, hungry team. Ime Udoka's got them just playing balls to the wall, crazy, aggressive defensively. They were the 2 seed last year, and now that they've got a guy, I mean, these guys smell blood in the water because they were a young team. They knew they weren't a real contender last season. You get Kevin Durant. I mean, this team is a threat to win the NBA championship. They're going to be gunning for that top seed in the West. I believe they get it done. I like Houston at number 1.
Houston, number 1. Okay, my number 1 is the defending champs, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the boys are unstoppable. Oklahoma City, that young core that they have, no one is stopping the Thunder this year. The Thunder, the only people that can stop them is the Thunder themselves. They play winning basketball. They have reshaped what it means to create a roster in the NBA. They did it the gritty way. They did it by draft picks. They did it by growing their own personnel and players and getting rid of guys who like 10-year-olds like Josh Giddey. So Oklahoma City, congrats, kudos to you. You guys are number 1 going in, and we'll see what happens. But I think Shai, well, we'll talk about it later.
That's right. All right. That is it for the Western Conference. On to the East. I'll get us started. Okay. We're going from 5 to 1. My number 5, I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay. And I've listened to a lot of NBA discourses offseason. People are pretty down on the Bucks because they got Giannis and not a whole lot else. They did make a big signing. They poached Miles Turner from the Indiana Pacers. Kyle Kuzma is a rostered player who earns a salary, but Giannis right now is the best player in the Eastern Conference, especially with Jayson Tatum out, Tyrese Halliburton is out. I mean, the East is wide open, and this guy is the best player in the conference in a landslide. And Giannis, he's been pretty sensitive. There's been a lot of trade talk. I feel like all NBA media wants to see the guy traded out of Milwaukee, mostly because they don't like going to Milwaukee. I'll go to bat for Milwaukee. I will go to Milwaukee, okay? Because I'm down to go and drink Miller Lights. It's an incredible light beer. But Giannis is going to make a statement. Okay, he's going to say, I don't need help. I don't need help. I will carry this team to a winning record. I don't care that Doc Rivers is my coach. So I've got them at number 5.
I got 5 at Milwaukee as well. Don't want to belabor it. I think Giannis making the statements that he doesn't want to live in the U.S. after he's done the NBA with his wife and kids is hilarious. But I think Giannis is a beast. Wouldn't expect him to have a bad season. I think he's going to be one of the top 5 players in the league this year.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, number 4, I'm going with the Atlanta Hawks. And I just really like the moves they made this offseason. They made a trade for Kristaps Porzingis. Health is always a question mark with him, but if he can stay healthy, Porzingis and Trae Young could just be a dynamite duo. I mean, they could both shoot the 3-ball, the potential for pick and roll. It could just open up the entire offense. I mean, this is a team that's been to a conference finals. I feel like the NBA world has kind of just chewed up and spit out Trae Young and said, this guy's a freaking loser. The East is wide open. I like Atlanta to have a bounce-back season.
Yeah. We keep it authentic and real. We don't talk about our top 5 teams to coordinate. My number 4 is Atlanta as well. I think Trae Ice Young with Kristaps Porzingis is a dynamite duo, so I have Atlanta at 4 as well.
All right. We're agreeing on way too much so far. So, at number 3, I got the Knicks. Okay, New York Knicks. Mike Brown is in as head coach. They signed Jordan Clarkson, largely running back the same team from last season. I mean, they were the 3 seed last year, and now the East is a little bit more wide open. Okay, the Celtics probably won't be in the mix. Karl Anthony Towns had a great first season in New York. I mean, that trade ended up being a steal. You turn Julius Randle and DiVincenzo into Karl Anthony Towns. They got the best player on the deal. He was great. Jalen Brunson, I mean, just having an MVP-type season. So I expect the Knicks to win a lot of regular season games this year. I got them as my 3 seed.
My 3 is the Orlando Disney Magic. They have a very strong emerging young core. Paulo Banchero is a budding NBA superstar. He does not get enough shine. Orlando looking good. I have them as a surprising number 3 this year.
All right. I like that pick. All right, number 2, I have last season's number 1 seed in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got upset in the second round by the Pacers, but who didn't? The Pacers are beating everyone. And they're bringing back much the same team. They did make a big offseason trade. They brought in Alonzo Ball. He's a hard-nosed defender. He's great at passing the basketball around. So he's kind of had a reemergence now that he's on the kind of on the other side of these brutal knee injuries that had him off the court for over 3 years. I like the Cavaliers. I mean, they're going to be the favorite in a lot of people's eyes to win the conference. They won a ton of games last season. I believe they'll do it again. The East is wide open. Donovan Mitchell, sneaky dark horse MVP candidate. This guy because he's not loud, doesn't say crazy things, he never gets the shine that a lot of other NBA guys do. I mean, this guy's just as good of a player as Anthony Edwards is. He's just not the same quote machine.
Questionable. Not gonna even touch that one. I know you're setting up for an argument. I'm not gonna give it to you. Anthony Edwards is so much better than Mitchell. It's not even close. It's couldn't be further. It's a horrible take, Andy.
I don't agree. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Yeah, one guy's an NBA media darling. The other guy, he's just a quiet guy. It actually is funny. You would think the guy.
Oh my God! Look at this dump truck just pushing it to the limit, buddy. You're in a public park.
So unnecessary.
Jesus Christ!
He's hauling.
Get this guy out of here.
There's actually no reason for that to be
just
happening.
slammed on the brakes too.
What?
He's hauling a dead body. That's insane.
Children play here.
I wish I could show you this truck that just went by. But anyway.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, my number 2. I have the New York Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. I think they keep New York relevant this year, and I hope there's some dancing going on in the playoffs in Madison Square Garden.
All right. I wouldn't bank on it. At number 1 in the Eastern Conference, I've got the Orlando freaking Magic, okay? Because every year there's just a surprise team that, rips the top of the conference. I don't think many people expected the Cavs to be the 1 seed last season. This Magic team, they're improving. They're young. Paolo Banchero is a stud. They needed to address their shooting. That was their one weakness. They did not have enough guys who could make the 3-ball. They went out. They traded 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. Wild move. But they're about the now. They see an opening in this Eastern Conference. I like the Magic. They're a hard-nosed defensive team. I mean, that gives teams fits. They can win a lot of games this regular season. I like them as my 1 seed in the East.
My 1 seed, Andy doesn't like them because Cleveland used to beat the Boston Celtics, but I have Cleveland at number 1, Donovan Mitchell and the whole crew continuing the dominance in the NBA. Hopefully Cleveland has a better showing in the playoffs than they did last year, but until further notice, Cleveland dominates the whole Eastern Conference. It's my number 1.
All right. So you got Cleveland at the top of the conference. I like that, We both get our top 5s. Those are some good picks. Who knows how it'll shake out, You always think it's going to play out exactly like the previous season. No, there will be some surprise teams. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of good young NBA talent right now, too. Some of that's a little bit unpredictable. It's so weird. The NBA is a unique sport, right? Because a player can be really bad for 2 years and then just explode out of nowhere in year 3. It's because they're so young when they get into the league. You really don't know who they are until 3-4 years down the road. Versus NFL, guys play in college now. It's so competitive. You have a pretty good idea who you're picking in college football.
Yeah, that's a great point. With you there. All right, next up, I think we want to talk about award winners. And the only award that really matters, it's the MVP, okay? Trent, you want to start us out? Who's your MVP pick this season?
My MVP pick, and this is a lock this year. It's an absolute lock. My MVP for the 2025-2026 NBA season is none other than Los Angeles Lakers shooting guard Luka Doncic. This guy is an absolute stud. He's primed to win the award this year. LeBron is going to help him win. But skinny Luka is here to stay. He's going to take over Los Angeles, and he's going to be the biggest international superstar basketball player the world has ever seen. Jokic is a dud outside of the court, and I know he's an international superstar, but Luka Doncic is going to take this sport to another level.
All right. Luka, I considered skinny Luka as well because we've never seen the guy in the shape he is right now. He came in motivated. I mean, the Mavs traded him away and basically just called him a fat loser for 6 months, even though he just dragged them to a finals when they weren't expected to be there a year prior. It was crazy. I just think it could be tough for him to win the MVP award with another great teammate in LeBron. Naturally, some of the numbers are going to be split up. A lot of the offense will probably still go through LeBron, so sometimes having great teammates can hold back your chance of winning the award. For my MVP, I'm going Victor Wembanyama, okay? I think Wemby's reign as an NBA great is going to begin this season. I mean, he's put in the work this offseason. He's training with Kevin Garnett. He's in the gym. He's getting big and strong. The Spurs are an improving team. If they're in the playoff mix, if they can get kind of above that play-in level, I think Wemby's going to put up some absolutely crazy numbers, and it's the beginning of the end for any other team who wants to win a damn thing in this league. This kid is insane.
Yeah, Wemby apparently grew 4 inches in the offseason too. Apparently now he's 7'8". This is unheard of. I think he could be possibly an MVP candidate this year. I think that's a good dark horse, maybe even not a dark horse MVP pick. I don't even know. But watching him do a layup from a stop to dribble from the 3-point line, and then also then later on push someone out of the way and dunk like prime Shaq, Wembanyama, the only thing that's going to stop this guy is a blood clot, man.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy, I mean, this kid is just a physical specimen. So rest of the league, look out. That's my MVP winner.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to the full podcast. It was a long one, but it was a big one. We needed to have this pod. NBA's back. The NFL's in full swing. This is podcast heaven. We have a lot to talk about right now. Catch us again this Wednesday. We're going to shoot. Episode's going to be released Thursday. We're going to preview some NFL. We're going to talk, hey, what happened the first couple days of the NBA? And we're going to see if we can recreate another 2.8 million view Instagram. That's the question. Can we beat that? You know, I really, really hope this isn't a case of us peaking too early, because it's tough to get that much dopamine when you're going viral and then never even touch that number again. I believe in us, though. Also, we are the official trademark owners of Lawn Chair Sports now.
That's true.
It is official. The name is no longer in limbo. We own it. We own everything you see here. The boys are back in town.
Yeah, they are. I mean, bad day to be any other lawn chair sports program, okay, because we're the trademark holders. It's incredible. You're worried we might be peaking too early. No, we're just getting started. It's awesome. We're going to have another exciting pod coming out later in the week. You know, we're going to kind of let it marinate, watch a couple NBA games, and then kind of give you guys our NBA Finals picks. We didn't want to do it before the season. We figured that'd be too early, so we're going to get a couple games in our belts and then give you our Finals prediction. It's incredible. I mean, got a couple different sports going on. We'll even talk some World Series, okay? The matchup will be set after – actually, the matchup is already set, okay, because it's Tuesday morning, and ALCS Game 7 happened last night. It's a great time of year. We can't wait to talk about all of it.
Yeah, and we're not sorry for going this long because you're stuck in traffic right now anyway. So who would you rather listen to than me and Andy? Listen, you can listen to Joe Rogan talk to another expert in their field, and then he's only going to bring up how the government doesn't let anyone talk anymore and how social media is ruining the world, even though he's the biggest beneficiary of social media in the last 10 years. Or you can listen to Alex Cooper talk to women, disrespect their husbands on a podcast. Or you can listen to Andrew Schultz pretend like he's funny and not let any of his co-hosts talk. Or you can listen to Theo Vaughn give absolutely wild takes with not much up top going on in the brain. Or you can listen to Lex Friedman just have weird people on and talk in the most mundane and boring voice you've ever heard, although he's a great listen if you're trying to go to bed. Or you can listen to Jordan Peterson tell you to make your bed. Those are your options. So it's either us or them. I think it's a clear choice myself.
Yeah, I feel that way. I mean, it's a no-brainer. We're the voice of the people.
We are the voice of the people. I just want to say a couple things just to get some SEO out there for our videos.
Let's do that.
Trump, 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 Vance, 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 Barron, 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 Melania, 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 Melania. Government shutdown, government shutdown, government shutdown. All right, thanks, guys. That was episode 14, by the way.
Kick back 2 mics in the stadium skies. We're calling the plays while the cold ones rise.